it's something I strongly support. I think both philosophically, in the sense that, I mean, higher education to me is a social good. It should be done, and why anyone should be making money out of it is a separate issue, even though we do have to balance the books somehow. So, I mean, I think it's the right thing to do philosophically, to share educational resources. But also, it's the sort of thing that is happening on the micro level constantly. Within schools. I mean, that happened to me yesterday. I was preparing some slides for the short course I'm going to be doing later in the year in the US, and suddenly realized I needed some slides on a particular topic. I could have spent 2 days putting them together. It would have been easy enough for me to do, except thought crossed my mind, why don't I reach out to some colleagues up in the Dairy College Centre in Moore Park? And of course, by return of email, I got the slides I needed, which I'll now modify and make my life that much easier. And this happens naturally, so it's great to see that coming together. Now, in this particular project, I mean, obviously was funded from a small grant under our SATLE funding, that's Strategic Alignment of Teaching and Learning Enhancement, which is a body of money we get for teaching and learning enhancement every year from the Higher Education Authority. And it's wonderful to come and see it being spent so well. What I love about this particular one is the involvement of students involved in developing open education resources. And we had Young Han, who looked at the data loom, crafting stories with code, yarn, and print. And I'll say more about that in a while. Young Han, yeah. Say more about that in a while, because I was looking at your website earlier. It's really, really good. We have Ching Chen, who's a Blender beginner's guide. Guide acts as the introduction to becoming familiar with Blender, an open source 3D creation suite. We have Kael, MA Digital Arts and Humanities. Indeed, all of the 4 students, the 4 students are looking at all master's students. So Kael was looking at Adobe InDesign guide as a copy editor, and a copy editor for 2 books. And Amanda, MSc Management and Marketing, created a guide to media assignments. And it's just lovely to see all those coming together. I'd say a few words on Young Han's project as I looked at that. I mean, it was a lovely idea to visualize data sets in the form of textiles. You know, I mean, like my next meeting, which I am going to be at in exactly 5 minutes, so I'm not going to stay very long, has some very large, tedious data sets that we have to go through. And, you know, I mean, like, wouldn't it be lovely to see that as anyway, just to make them that little bit more human. So it's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to see how well the SATLE funding was used for this particular project. Not least of which we have a very happy task next Wednesday morning of going through about 50 applications for more SATLE funding for next year. So it'll be a wonder there. So well done to Stephanie, well done to the team, and well done to the 4 students involved. And it's great to see it coming together. So thank you very much.
Thanks, no problem.
I will now gather my tedious statement. It is not in the form of a textile, and I just wish you all the best with the afternoon. Unfortunately, as I said, I have to be somewhere. Actually, I should have been here at 2 o'clock, but I pushed it out by a little bit just to meet you all. So well done.
Yeah, thank you so much, Paul. So thank you, Paul, for saying a few words. So what I'm going to do is just provide a bit of context now on the project itself. I'm not going to spend too long on this because I know we really want to hear from the students and their experiences. But just to provide a bit of context behind what this project was, where it came from, and how it sits within the library. So just about a bit of background information for people who don't know what open educational resources are. So open education resources fall under an open education umbrella, which is all aimed at widening access and participation and removing barriers to learning. So its whole aim is to make learning accessible, abundant, and customizable. So within this, open educational resources then are resources that permit no-cost access, reuse, repurposed, adaptation, and redistribution by others, all for free. So OERs can be anything then, and you'll see from some of the examples that students have produced for the library that we really do mean anything. We're very open to what students can work on. for us for these projects. So they can be openly licensed courses, they can be open textbooks, images, presentations. Like Paul was mentioning, it could be a presentation slide, guides, articles, blog post reflections, and more. And the main thing is that it can be created by anyone. So you don't have to be an academic, you don't have to be an expert. You can create an OER yourself, and you can make it available and publish it yourself then as well in any kind of medium. So it can be text, image, video, audio, or a combination of any of those. So just to highlight some of the reasons why you might want to use OER. So we're particularly interested in this because OERs can help enhance the learning, teaching, and research experiences for our staff and students. It fosters inclusivity and accessibility. So it is very much in line with the university's strategic goals and also the library's own vision and plan that we have. Importantly, for students, it reduces educational costs while still ensuring equitable access to high quality resources. And then finally, for UCC, strategically implementing OERs can help position UCC as a leader in this field, particularly in Ireland, where there's still kind of not a lot of work has been done in this area. So just some examples of previous student-created OER. So we did receive funding for a SATLE project last year, and we ran an OER pilot with the Spanish department. So this was for first year Spanish, second year and final year Spanish. And this is just 4 of the OERs that students in that module created as part of that pilot project. So we had one student, Marta, who created a Las Horas summary notes. So this was basically notes that she already had. And all she did was she just kind of formatted it a little bit, and then she made it available as an OER. This is a weekly conjugation planner from Roberta. So again, material that she was probably already using for her own studies. And all she did was put a Creative Commons license on it so that anyone could use it or redistribute it or modify it. So if someone wanted to change the verbs or use it for a different language, they could easily do so. We then had this poster from Holly, who kind of outlines a day in her life as a wheelchair user in UCC. So again, it can be about anything. It can be about your own personal lived experiences. So I could see this resource being particularly useful if someone wants to kind of talk about someone's own personal experiences of being a wheelchair user and of being a student, and what their kind of day-to-day life in a university might look like. So this was a poster that she created. And then finally, we published an Introduction to Spanish Verb Tenses, which was a book by Sarah. Again, this was all material that she had done for her own studies. So these were all notes that she had created herself. And all we did was just help her format it and then publish it for her. So this book is now freely available for anyone to access. And looking at the stats, there's people all around the world who have access to this book. There's even kind of schools in Los Angeles that are using this as part of their resource. So it's amazing to see the impact that these resources can have, and they've all been created by students. So for this year's project, then, we just wanted to expand on work from the previous SATLE project. And this time around, we wanted to see, okay, what would it actually look like if we were to provide a bit of, if we were to employ students to actually create OER and support them throughout this process. So this year's project, we used SATLE funding to hire 4 students, and you'll hear from 3 of them today. Unfortunately, one of them couldn't make it. So I'm just going to say, before I finish, a massive thank you to the students who are involved in this project. So to Yonghan, Xing Chen, Kael, and Amanda, who unfortunately wasn't able to make it. Their contributions were invaluable to this work, and this project wouldn't have been a success without them. So I really appreciate their hard work on this. And I'd also like to thank library staff who helped out with this project as well. So Declan Sinnott, who is a library assistant, and Alfie Davis, our student wellbeing and engagement coordinator, for all his help in managing students. So I'm just going to hand it over now to the students so you can hear directly from them their experiences and what they created for us. So the first one that we'll be talking is Kael. And then we'll have Xing Chen and then Yonghan. So if we can all give a warm welcome to Kael.
Hi, I'm Kael. If you know me, you know that I can't shut up except for when I'm public speaking, because that might be my least favorite thing to do ever. So we're gonna try and get through this together. It might be a little awkward though. I'm in the Master of Arts, Digital Arts and Humanities program with Young Hong, and for my contribution to the project, I started some InDesign materials that the Digital Scholarship Studio will be able to later take on and actually like flesh out fully. And I also did copywriting for Young Hong and Jing Shen's books as well. I was interested in this project because my undergraduate was in technical communication and multimedia development, so it felt like a good fit for something, as I've pretty much already done previous projects of instructional materials, specifically in InDesign. I did a lot of InDesign in my undergrad projects. Whenever there was a training material that was different than something I'd done before, I'd remake it. So I ended up with a couple of videos, course in articulate storyline, along with a small PDF of a walkthrough of how to use InDesign. And I was going to accumulate all of them for this project. I wasn't able to finish mine due to personal circumstances, and we'll be passing it on to the Digital Scholarship Studio for them to finish it at a later date. I also feel very passionate about open source anything, so contributing to open resource education was also really exciting to me. As for one of the things Stephanie wanted us to focus on in her presentation was mostly what we learned from this project and the experience. The most important thing for me I learned was that I need to be a little bit more realistic about what I can do, and I'm working on a graduate degree. I signed up for this project along with another project outside of school over the summer and ended up being beyond my capacity, which is a good thing to know since, I'd like to eventually do a PhD as well. But I also learned that it was that this is still very much something that I enjoy doing. When I had finished up my undergraduate and was working as a technical writer, I wasn't sure if that was something I still wanted to continue doing or if I enjoyed making instructional materials for other people. And through this project, I was able to learn and better about myself. I do still enjoy making instructional materials, especially things that can help other people use software and other multimedia sources, how to navigate them better, how to use them for their own projects. But I might enjoy more of the copy editing side than the writing itself. Some primary things that I think are important to share from what I learned with this project is that when working on creating open resource materials, it makes sense to support other open source materials that are already in place to do so. So open source software versus privatized software to create materials, or utilizing other open resources that already exist in a way that you can synthesize it into your information that you're presenting, such as YouTube channels that exist, other free courses and whatnot. I think it makes sense to, if you're going to be adding to the open sources, to be supporting other open source resources while doing so, just to perpetuate the cycle of there's a need for it, there's a value for it, there's an applicability for it for pretty much anyone that has an interest in using it. Another thing that I think is really important, and this is a little bit biased because, again, technical writer, but going into creating these with a skill set in visual and communication and rhetoric is really, really helpful. Being able to present complex information to a basic understanding audience is not easy. Not everyone that's an expert in their field can communicate what they know to someone that doesn't know anything about that field. Being able to do that communication, being able to translate that, not dumb it down, but translate it down for the audience in a way that they can understand it without it feeling like it's going over their head and, giving up before they even figured any of it out. That is a mark of someone that truly understands what they're teaching and communicating. So if you want to be providing information such like open source education resources to others, having the communication skill set is a really, really helpful skill to have in the long run to make sure that the resources you're making can be understood by a wide range of audiences. The last thing that I think is really, really important is fact checking with information that you're doing. And by that, I mean, everybody, well, not everybody, I don't. A lot of people use things like ChatGPT these days for information, but it's also been proven time and time again that information from large language models isn't always factually correct. Putting in the work to ensure that the information that you're presenting, especially if it's an open resource that anybody in theory could access and utilize, is factually correct and the most accurate information that you can give, is super important. This can be done by, cross-referencing with other resources that already exist, subject matter experts that can review it for you to be like, yeah, this is all true. But ensuring that you're not relying just on what you find on the internet from ambiguous sources that may not be the most accurate will ensure that your resources are applicable for longer and also need less revising further down the line. And I think that's all I got. But it was really cool to be working on this. It was really an excellent way for me to synthesize both my undergraduate and my graduate courses together in a way where I could see more of an applicability for myself in my own future if I decide not to do a PhD. We'll see, pending. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kael. Okay, so I'm going to hand over now to Stephanie Chen, who is going to talk about his project.
Hi, everyone. My name is Xin-Chen Huang, and I'm currently studying for a master's in interactive media. And I'm really happy to have the chance to take part in the OER project. When I first learned about OER, I thought it was a very meaningful project. So I signed up right away. I'm glad I can share my skill through OER to help more people. And I think 3D modeling is an important skill in many fields. And I know the feeling of being lost when starting with Blender. That's why I decided to create a beginner-friendly Blender tutorial. This resource is meant for secondary school students, university students, teachers, and anyone interested in 3D design. It includes a written explanation with screenshots, teaching videos, 3D model displays, and downloadable Blender project files. I used the Pressbook for layout and Figma for visual design, and all the models were made in Blender in Windows. The teaching video were recorded with EV screen recorder and upload to YouTube. And during this project, I improved in many areas, like planning, designing, and creating a full project from scratch, getting more skilled with Figma, understanding more about interactive design. And one chance was figuring out which part may confuse beginners. So for me, the most important thing in this project was thinking from the learner's perspective and keep the content clear and make it easy as possible to follow. Finally, I want to sincerely thank the UCC Library team for their support and help. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Xingchen. If you want to come back, I can open up your book as well. So if you want to talk people through it.
Okay.
So then you can actually use this as a touch screen. So if anyone is interested in viewing the books that Xingchen and Yanghong were talking about, this is his Blender Beginner's Guide. So if you want to go through some of the pages.
Yeah. First is a background introduction, and mainly I do first I do an interface introduction, to teaching beginner to know the basic interface, and I do very lot of screenshots here. You can see, yeah. And then it's basic operations, and I do many detailed steps, and I do videos. Yeah, do a subtitle to introduce every functions. And I discuss the tools. And it's a very important part to 3D modeling in Blender's edit model. I have videos. And then I do an example. Do the beginners do a simple 3D models, cute models. Yeah. So step by step to a box and you finished. Yeah. And then I have a finished model. So, yes. And check. Yes. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Chen. So as you can see from his book, it is a beginner's guide to Blender, which is a hefty piece of software that is very intimidating, but someone could follow through his own guides and create their own little cute little mascots at the end of it. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so finally, we just have Young Hong, who is going to be talking about her book, which is the Data Loom, Crafting Stories with Code, Yarn, and Print.
Hi everyone, my name is Young Hong, and I'm a postgraduate student here in Digital Arts and Humanities. And my background have a little bit complicated. I was a senior art-based director in China in the advertising industry. So I learned a lot of handcrafts, and I learned a lot of painting, and also I learned a lot about design. And I was a content maker in Chinese, like Chinese social media red notes. And also I very believe when we learn something new, we share with more people and we learn it deeply and we can't forget anymore. So that's why I do this project. And also recently my research about crossroad between literature data, material, and the body. So my own thesis project follow the path of text to data and data to matter and matter to body. In these things, so actually I very enjoy to make data visualization in different way. So this is my try. And where did this OER idea come from? So because I like do something research about art therapy. I find if we use data, make something new craft or materialize something, we maybe more deep focus on specific things and help people learning data deeply. So my OER itself called Weaving Data is essentially teaching resource that guides learner through turning simple data sets like mood, sleep, or exercise into woven pathing using a 3D printed mini loom. The resource is aimed at a wide audience, for example, like creative students and education and researchers in digital humanities. And also everybody beginner just very like to do something new try. And so I make these whole projects like very, very clear and very, very detailed step by step, because I found very interesting things when I want to learning something new in the AI, for example, like ChatGPT, but I usually can't find specific area because ChatGPT usually show us like different version of software. So I very hard to find very specific area of different button. So that's why I think do this project is very meaningful to help beginner to try something new. And let's just go through this project. This is my thing, and here this is about and maybe I talk the reference first.
Hit the plus on the right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay, I do this like different parts. Post capture is like preparing. So it's all about if we want to do this kind of project, what we need to prepare. We need to prepare some 3D printing machine and like prepare data. Actually, it's any data both okay. I just showed like example. And also we have like additional tools like scissors and these things. I use software like Photoshop, Blender, and 3D printing machine in here. So capture 2, I beginning with the simple draw and step by step teach everybody how to use Blender, build 3D modeling. And capture 3 is I make how I make the data, how I tidy the data for printing. So even I show the simple video, step by step to introduce everything I prepared in here. And I say what is my data and what color meaningful, and and how can I make data step by step. And also here, I made some draft, a simple draft to waving. And next. So these pages, which I come from this inspiration, because I saw a lot of environment projects. They use some waving to make visualize data. So I think it's a good to try. We tried in different way make visualize data. So that's all. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Yong Hong. So you can see there, even between the two outputs that were made with Xingxuan's Blender guide, how you can use that Blender guide and then move on to Yong Hong's project, which is reading data by putting the skills you learn in that book into practice with her book. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for attending, both in person, and thank you to our online attendees as well. This is being recorded, so we'll do a few edits on it, and then we'll make it available afterwards. But again, I just want to say a massive thank you to the students involved in this project. If anyone is attending this call and they're interested in learning more about OERs, either for themselves or for their students, you can come talk to us in the library anytime. And we're more than happy to start this conversation with you. So thank you, everyone.